Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Halo 5 Legendary Lone Wolf walkthrough. This is Mission 7, it's called Reunion. This is going to be a two-parter, and we're going to be bumping into the Warden again, which is why it's a little bit more tricky than some of the missions in this game. If you're wondering why it's not all going to be in a single video, it's mainly because some of these videos would be an hour long, and there are various good reasons why I don't do hour-long videos. The easiest ones to understand are the time it takes me to upload them, and the length of video generally puts people off watching. Shorter videos do better than longer videos, it's just empirical fact. However, YouTube has moved towards a direction of longer viewer retention videos than it does the shorter, quick, almost montage-esque approach. So, kind of bizarre and contradictory to what they used to do, but it's nice to see that it's rewarding the people whose viewers watch everything they do. So if you're the type of person who clicks on a video, watches 2 minutes and turns off, it's not going to work for that. If you're the type of person that watches all 20 minutes, then it's going to be wonderful. And I think it's a cool feature, because I do prefer longer length videos than shorter, but at the same time, I think that there is a happy medium. If you go too long, it can feel like a bit of investment, because not everybody has an hour to sit down and watch a video. And you can stop and start, and a lot of the times there's a memory feature in the playback, so you can get to where you were, but I'm one of those people that I like to finish what I start, in almost every aspect of life, and I'm very impatient on certain things. For the most, my patience is great, but when it's something that's realistic that can be finished, I would rather just do it. It's the reason why I played this game from 2 PM to 2 AM, because I could have had breaks, and I could have stopped, for a few hours and done other things, but I feel like when I get momentum, why derail it? Like, if I'm in the zone and my aim's good and I'm being successful, just keep going. Do the work now so you don't have to do the work later. And calling playing a video game work is kind of stupid, and I agree with that, but when you don't want to be doing it, and it's getting late and you're getting tired and you're all sweaty and nasty and all you want to do is anything else, it can really feel like it at times, which, considering that this is viewed as a pastime for a lot of people and they would kill to do that over their job, you always sound like an entitled idiot when you make a statement like that. But I always try to open people's eyes with the perspective that anything that you do for money that you don't necessarily want to do is a job. And it can feel like a job. Like, you could be getting blown by 40 of the most beautiful women in the world, but if you're not in the mood, and it's like the 5th day on the trot, it's going to feel like work at that point, because it's just how the brain is, it's just how we work. We idolize the thing we can't have. It's the grass is greener on the other side. It's the adage to stare and dream by. But here is a firefight against the Covenant. I really like fighting the Covenant. There's just something about it. I wish they'd embellish on them. I think it's about time we invented more Covenant to fight, because I think that they're a race that could be embellished upon a ton, because I think they're really cool. At this moment in time, if you've played all the Halo games up to this point, you've killed all the archetypal enemy types dozens of times. You know exactly how to do it, and it doesn't change too much. The reason why I think they get away with it is because of how good the AI is. And I was listening to... what was I listening to the other day? It could have been Game Radar. It was GameSpot, I think. The one with the Irish dude who generally does... that's a word. Doos. Double O. I doos. It doesn't even work, does it? Why did I say that? Why do I do this? Why am I saying this? Why am I not back on topic? I don't know. But there's an Irish guy who does reviews for GameSpot, and he's kind of a little bit more honest and a little bit more integrity than your standard reviewer, which generally translates to, he shits on a lot of popular things, and he's Irish, so it's cool, of course. But he was asking these two other people, who I assume are the people behind the scenes who write a lot of the reviews and don't do much video stuff, who'd played the game, what the game was like. And they all had the same opinion, that the AI in this game isn't good, that it's stupid. The AI is the same Halo AI, this dumb AI, and I just don't get that. How can you think the AI in this game is dumb? Like, in Call of Duty, everybody stands still and lets you shoot them in the face. For the entire campaign, that's all they do. The AI on this game, they run around, they scoot, they duck, they dive, they flank, they go in cover and get shields. They play like I play. Like a massive bitch trying to beat her hardest difficulty. And it's amazingly frustrating, but I think it's spot on. They're assholes. They push you to get them out of cover and to put pressure on them when they're being defensive. And I think no other first-person shooter does this. The only other game that comes even close to the AI of this when it comes to those fights against the elites is Fear. Fear 1 had the most insidious and hateful enemies I've ever faced. They were evil. They were really evil. They skidded around, they went into cover, they flanked you, they did all kinds of shit. They were absolutely evil. But Fear was a long time ago now. You know, when did that game come out? 2003? No, not 2003. 2006? Something like that. I played that game on the PC. Because it was the only platform it was available on when it first came out. And they were all the previews said they were inspired by John Woo, and I am a massive fan of John Woo. Like Hard Target, what am I about? Although it is John Woo. Hard Boiled was one of my all-time favourite films for a very long time. And the AI on that, it was devilish. It was really, really good. But you can't have the AI be super good, because then it's not fun to fight them. You have to have moments where they, push forward, and then you punch them, and then you shoot them in the face. You have to have moments where they stand there and let you shoot them in the face every so often, because if they don't, what are you meant to do? Like, I think the AI is a reasonable amount of dumb that still makes it both challenging and interesting. But then I realised, I'm sat there all injusticed in my chair listening to these people talk about this game where they've had a vastly different experience to the one I had. And then you realise, don't you, they were probably playing on normal. I don't even know what the AI is like on normal. So everything they said could be completely valid, but I like to think that they at least give you a bit of a fight, or what's the fucking point? But one of them said he was playing on Heroic, yet he still conferred that the AI was dumb. Yet he went on to say that he was getting killed a ton and that Legendary is probably going to be really hard. Then he went on to say that the Mantis section was really tricky, which is not true at all. He just was probably playing it really impatiently. If you play that section patiently, very simple stuff. But everybody's different, guys. Games are very subjective, and the section that we're on right now has a horrible checkpoint. The checkpoint was before we drop down here. We have to fight our way across this massive trench of enemies here. At the end there are snipers, there are turrets, and there are a bunch of elites that can kill you very quickly, and if you die you will go back to before you dropped down. I died here a couple times, and I got really annoyed. Not particularly challenging, just annoying that there is no checkpoint after so much fighting. So, noob combo, using the carbine, how beautiful was that? I love this game when those moments are able to be done. I just don't get it. If they've had just the majesty to design such a cool mechanic like that, why doesn't every enemy have some kind of crit? Some kind of great way of killing them? Because if you think about it, it used to kind of work that way. Jackals, to some extent, have that. Shoot the hand, then shoot the face, and they die. Although shooting the face can be tricky occasionally, it's a really cool crit strategy. Brutes, noob combo once again. Hunters on Halo 1. Bait the charge attack, back up, dodge it, and then hit them on the crit spot and kill them with the handgun, which was, super powerful. A wonderful way of killing that enemy. On this game, you literally shoot them with every bullet that exists to kill them. And hope they fall over. And then hope that their friend isn't too miffed that you killed his buddy, his life partner, or whatever you call him. Because a heretic was kind enough to explain to me one time that they're symbiotically linked, like a hive mind, of a bunch of organisms coming together to form a collective, and that the two hunters are like paired together of one mind. I think that's what he said, something like that. And I was just like, they look like giant, Ninja Turtle dudes with laser guns, because that's how much I care about Halo. But they're a cool enemy, it must be said. I just don't like the way they've watered it down, because on Halo 1, you could embarrass them, dodge that hit and then shotgun them in the back, good night, or hit them in the throat. The throat used to be a really good kill spot. And I knew nothing about this until Aiden showed it me. Because Aiden got super into Halo. He bought the Xbox and he got super into it. I was too busy playing the GameCube and loving Luigi's Mansion, being like, fuck your Halo. This is what you want to do. I'm hoovering money out of curtains, bitches. And I had a really good time doing it, and I really like that game. But he got super into Halo, and he got a bunch of friends who were also really into Halo as well. So I think that can really help. You know, and you've got that community of friends that are close that you can have good times with. And that's what I wish I had with fighting games. Like, I am a late bloomer when it comes to appreciating the complexity and the awesomeness of fighting games. But now that I've got into Street Fighter 4, even though it's like 7 years since it was released, all I wish is that I had a circle of friends, or that there was a Wednesday night fight set up in my area, or the equivalent of, next level battle circuit, because it must be so cool, dude. Everybody helping each other get better, everybody there for the same passion of this game, and just that thrill of competition that you don't get online because of the fucking lag. Like, I really wish I had something like that. And I never use Facebook, and I was using Facebook to try and look in my areas like Leeds and Sheffield and things to see if there was anybody who was doing anything like that, and there doesn't seem to be. And it's that moment, isn't it, where you can be the person who spearheads it, but it's a lot of work, and it's a slow build like everything else. But I've come over here to pick up the fuel rod. You're going to see me get real tentative now, because there's a spawn as you're coming up. There is a bunch of elites, and the elites are generally on the turrets. I think 1 or 2 of them have swords, and there is nothing worse than doing this entire sequence up to now, pushing forward where it looks clear, and then getting hit by a sword and instantly dying. And it has to be said too, those turrets, why do they take so much damage? Is there some kind of magic Father Christmas dust on it that enables it to do ridiculous things like fit down a chimney and visit every house in like a 12-hour period? Like, why are they so hard to kill? Are they related to Steven Seagal? Does anybody know? I don't, and I don't get it at all. But this last guy has this weird grenade gun thing that I just don't get at all. It's got the weirdest reticle. It looks like I'm trying to use a keyhole to find you. But explosives are explosives, and when you give the AI that has fantastic aim, he's going to end your day. So I'm going to bitch mode engaged, just try and do as little as possible to get this guy to expose himself, and then once I've checked his penis out, we're going to kill him. But it never works the way I want it to, and I'm aware of the checkpoint now, so that's why I'm playing so timidly. And I hate to do it, guys, but this is what it does to you. This is why I don't like Dead Space on hardcore, even though I think Dead Space is a great game. And I've said numerous times, I would rather play Zealot without ever visiting a shop, doing a no-shop run, which is probably the hardest thing you can do in that game, than do it without checkpoints. Because the way it affects the way you play isn't enjoyable for me. I'm not that guy. I'm not the dude who goes for a perfect run on Pac-Man, because I don't really like Pac-Man, even though it's a great game. It's just not my thing. And every convention I go to, there's some super awesome Pac-Man player doing some kind of crazy run. The most previous one was when I went to Blackpool in May, I think it was. I had a video about this, by the way, guys, and I deleted it by accident. And it pisses me off because it was a really good video. It just got lost in the shuffle of all the other videos, and I deleted it thinking it was already uploaded, and it wasn't. So, sorry about that. But he was at a stand-up cabinet that had kind of like a... I don't know what they call it. You know those red ropes that have gold hooks that go around like a marquee or something to tell you essentially don't go there? Type of places that like a posh hotel will have when it doesn't want scrubbers coming in. Like, it had one of those. And you couldn't get close to him, and on top of the arcade cabinet there was a big like laminated piece of information that said he was going for a perfect game, which is all like 500 and ridiculous flaws of Pac-Man eating all the ghosts, eating all the pellets, all that kind of crazy bullshit. But also, after I think stage 100 or 200 or something, he wasn't allowed to do the set patterns. Because if you don't know, Pac-Man has a pattern. So if you memorize every single stage, you know where the ghosts are going to go, and you know how to exploit them to get them to go where you want them to go, and you can eat them all. And you can do that game, and it's all about that. But that stipulation means he has to freehand the end of that game. So when that game starts getting, the hardest it can be, he can't do those, muscle memory patterns that all the high-end players learnt. He has to freeform. And freeforming in something like that That is real skill at that point, and don't get me wrong, if you're able to get a perfect game on Pac-Man, you don't need me to tell you you're good at Pac-Man, because you already fucking know. Your wife knows, your kids knows, you know, all the other members at Alcoholics Anonymous know, because it's ruined your life, you're that good. But to freeform it? That's next level shit, and the funny thing is, I never saw this dude get to that point, because it takes a few hours, which is a massive endurance test, and every time I saw him, it was like at the beginning of a run, maybe he'd messed up, I'm not entirely sure, but I will never be that dude. I will always love that dude in a part of my heart, where I'm like, I'm so glad you can do this, because I don't have it in my body to even contemplate why you would want to. It's too much for me. It's way too much. And I even get comments on my videos like, I don't know how you do this, dude. I can't imagine doing this. And it's just that moment of, I fervently believe anybody can do anything on a game, you just have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's the hardest thing in the world. Because without that motivation, without that perseverance, you'll never succeed. And I will never get a perfect score on Pac-Man, and I'm happier for it. But we're heading into the mantle of responsibility, which is, I think, something that the Warden says to you about Cortana, because there's this very interesting relationship between him and her. The story is very intriguing in this game. I think the payoff at the end is absolutely hilariously bad. They've kind of, spoiler alert, done a Halo 2, which had the worst ending in the history of worst endings, I think. And I'm not even a fan of the series, really. But all it did was, it set up the next game and nothing else. And it set a trend of those kind of endings, whereas I think you can do it good, but you have to be very particular about it. A good example, Darksiders. At the end of Darksiders, there is just the most manly moment ever. It was so badass I had shivers when it was happening, and I'm pretty sure it helped me grow more of a beard than I was able to grow before, because it's so goddamn manly. And then you have bad versions. Like, it could have been even more on the chin if a detective had come up to us and said, there's another criminal coming to Gotham. He's left a calling card and it's a fucking Joker. Like, really? We had to know this? Like, that's like a dude next to him from a wrestling crowd with a massive sign saying, the Joker's gonna be the next villain, dude. So on the nose. But this is a pretty tricky section, because there's not too much ammunition, and there's a lot of dudes to shoot, and then there's a massive firefight with the Warden, and it's got to be said, the Warden is a bitch. He's a big bitch. Any boss that needs minions to be challenging is a bitch, and the one saving grace of the final encounter is that there are no minions until the final phase, but even then, they had to do 3 of them to make it feel like a respective fight. And you know what I find hilarious? There's an achievement for doing it without dying. I think it says using a full fire team, and that makes a lot more sense. Because with 4 humans, or 5 humans, or whatever the co-op is, I imagine you can shitfist that boss real quick. If you all have incinerator cannons, and you all have, you know, crazy backups and all your grenades, and you all bring turrets in at the beginning, you can probably assassinate that dude before he knows what's hit him. But on your own? There is no way in hell you are doing that anytime soon. That is the type of thing that will take months to get that lucky run. And then when you do it, nothing to do with you. Everything to do with the circumstance. But, just madness. I'm getting rushed here by a turret guy, and it's a real bad spot, and I don't have the bullets to kill him convincingly, so I'm going to jump and boost and pray, because that's literally all you can do. That guy, if he wants to kill you, you're already dead. He is literally Kenshiro. And do you see that? The clipping was blocking my bullets from my little shitty feather duster gun. So all we want now is a light rifle. That's literally all we need. Give us a gun that works, and we're happy. Give us this piece of shit and we're unhappy. But of course, that's half the challenge, isn't it? Finding a gun that works. As first-person shooters are amazing when you're walking around with the equivalent of a sweeping brush. But I get the turret, because the turret is actually godlike. Even though it's not godlike at all. The damage on it is way lower than it should be. And also, shooting it is a work of art. Because it has dip on the shots, a little bit like the boom shot. And if your team gets in your way, like she just did like 3 times, See you later, Kelly. God, I wish you'd stay dead. But it's just these wars of attrition where the AI can kill you in 1 to 2 hits and you have to shoot them a million times with guns that don't do much damage. It makes a simple section a lot more tricky than it needed to be. And once again, you know, if you're playing co-op right now, you probably don't even notice these moments because you're all shooting with decent guns until they run out and everyone's dead. But when you're on your own and your team are doing nothing and you've used all the good guns, I don't see the fun. I really don't. And it's that question, isn't it? Is that Halo formula? Is that one of the things that makes Halo? The fact that you have to really shoot dudes? And if they took it away, would it be the thing that people missed and didn't realise they missed? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But this is bad news, whichever way you slice it. Guy with a turret who takes a beating, and I have no weapons to kill him with. And the weapons I am using are weapons I barely use because I just don't think they're any good. Like this thing. Fires an explosive, and I think you might be able to charge it because that reticle looks like you probably can, but I don't think I ever did that. Same with this gun. Couldn't you on Halo 4 charge this up and do a super powerful shot that everybody said ruined the multiplayer? Couldn't for the life of me figure out how to do it. It's probably something dumb as well, like hold a different button that I didn't try, but I couldn't do it. And I said to somebody in a comment when I was mentioning that I didn't figure out how to move my squad, that if the games had instruction booklets like they used to, that's where you learnt all that kind of stuff. But now, they've made games feel more dynamic and you're introduced to mechanics on the screen with little pop-ups and with little tutorial moments. But if you miss them, like I apparently did, it can be tricky to you just don't know. And that's why I loved instruction booklets, but all they do now is fight the war against epilepsy, which is an honest battle, but if you don't have epilepsy, it doesn't really affect you. And there are a lot of people it does affect, and it sucks, I can't imagine it. But, like, I don't really need to know that I should play video games for no less than 2 hours without a break, and I should do it in a well-lit room, sitting at least 7 days away from the television screen and eating vitamin D while I do it. Like, I don't need that. I understand that I'm probably a sunken, shallow, pale gobbling of a creature in my little man cave, and I should probably spend more time outside in that dreaded thing we called sunlight, but I chose not to, and it's my choice. So, can you please stop talking about epilepsy and tell me how to use these secondary functions, goddammit? But this doesn't even have a booklet, I don't think. It just has a bunch of marketing for bullshit DLC that I'm not buying. And that is the future of gaming. Now you have these interactive electronic manuals in the main menu and things, but the last one of those I tried was for Transformers Devastation, and all it did was boot me to the internet and tell me to put a link in. And I'm sorry, but if you're not going to take the time to print a damn manual that has more than, you know, epilepsy protection, I'm not going to this bullshit website that's probably just going to boot a PDF anyway, and certain PDFs are an asshole to go through. Like, you can't win, can you? On one hand, you're killing trees. On another hand, you're saving epileptics. Like, where do you draw the line? But have you noticed how we're still fighting 2 or 3 enemies because I don't have fucking guns to kill them? Challenging difficulty right here. Engrossing, tense siege of where do I find the gun that kills the bad thing. I do love that boost though, doesn't it look cool? For some reason it reminds me of Jeopardy. There's so many Zone of the Enders parts of this game that just trigger that part of my brain. The Guardians really remind me of Arjet and like Anubis about certain parts of their orbital frames. And then I realised that license is probably never going to get another game, thanks to the dissolvement of Kojima's productions at Konami, and Konami are moving towards like Mahjong and fucking Patapon or whatever it's bloody called. Those stupid machines that I've never seen and probably will never use. And here we go again, long range with the suppression. Top tier strategies here. Because it's funny, isn't it? This is not the viable strategy for this gun. Yet if I push forward, because I'm not convinced of the cover and I don't know my way too well to navigate to get to him the fastest, he could kill me. Because all it takes is one enemy to kill you. Yet, you know, I can't kill him. Very strange. But that is the end of the first part of Reunion. I will see you in the second part, where things get hectic and the Warden shows up again and we slap him in the face. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.